Sarah, let's talk more about Jonah.
Yay! Let's do it.
Yeah, I do want to talk more about Jonah. I studied Jonah recently again and just learned some things and noticed some things I hadn't seen before. One of which is that he had seaweed all around him. Think about that. Seaweed only grows along the coast. I kind of have this picture that Jonah probably was way out in the Mediterranean when all this came. I now believe that he probably arrived at Joppa after making that journey from around where Jesus was raised in Nazareth, because that's where Jonah's from. And so he walked about 60 miles. He gets the ship, pays passage. He's tired. He goes down and falls asleep. They set off, and they're barely into the water when the storm hits. Because think about it, it says they were trying to row back to shore. You wouldn't do that if you're out in the middle of the Mediterranean. So they're fairly close to shore. The storm hits. God brings them a miraculous event. And Jonah's then thrown overboard because they pull straws. They know it's Jonah. And he tells them, just throw me overboard. And so they finally do. And he's entrapped by seaweed. So it's close to the shore. The whale would take him in. And I'm going to say whale instead of great fish, because I think it probably was a whale. And brought him to this general area, maybe a little farther north even, because from here, you're on that way to the sea path. You could go from here all the way to Assyria, to Nineveh. And so I think he was probably not too far from it. Yeah, okay. Now, Sarah, I'll tell you something else about that story that causes people to doubt the story. He gets to Nineveh, and he begins to walk into this very large city, and people believe him. They begin to repent. The word gets to the king. He tells he wants everyone to repent. They are to wear sackcloth. They are to repent, to fast, and so forth. How in the world could that be? Think about it. Just think about it. The storm comes. They're not far from shore, and they throw Jonah overboard. He's taken in by the whale, and for 3 days he's in that whale. But what will the men on that ship do? They've already thrown the cargo overboard. They're going to have to come back to Joppa, get more cargo so they can make some money if they make that journey. And so as soon as they get back, what are they gonna, they've all made vows to God. We're going to worship you only from now on. Do you think they told people when they got back to Joppa what had just happened? I think so. And guess what? There's travel all the way from the east to Joppa. There would have been many people who in Nineveh had heard the story before Jonah ever got there. They could have been riding camels. He may have walked. We don't know how long it was before he got to Nineveh. So the whole city had heard this story from these men who are on the ship. We're speculating, but it makes sense. And when he gets there, he says, I'm Jonah, I'm the one swallowed by a fish. God says he's going to destroy the city. And the people believe him, and they repent. And because of that, of course, God relents. He chooses not to destroy that city.
Wow.
Okay.